us, Malu. A very good morning to you. I mean, we have been tracking the story for many months now. If you are able to just take us back to what has been happening in Kolobeni, what's been happening with that community, and how we ended up in court now.
Well, Yuvi, this issue of titanium mining in Kolobeni dates back really to about a decade when an Australian company wanted to mine titanium there. Over the past 10 years, we have seen residents opposing those plans really, and also opposing coming to court, really asking this court to make a declaratory order that if the Minister of Mineral Resources grants that permit to mine in that area, the residents must give consent to that, meaning that they should not only just be consulted as landowners, they need to give permission to that mining, to that mining if it has to take place. And so they consulted, they came to this court seeking that order. But also, Yuveka, they're saying that if the mining rights are given to that company, well, the company should be able to compensate them. They want the court to compel the company to compensate them for the disruption, really, of their lives, because they're saying that the mining in that area will disrupt their way of life. If you go to Kolobeni, Yuveka, people there still believe that subsistence farming is a way of life for them. In fact, most people don't actually even have running water. They rely on rivers and wells for water, and they rely on farming just to survive. And they're saying that if mining is allowed to go ahead, that will certainly interfere with how they live. But at the same time, though, Yuveka, you have some people who are saying that they want this mining to go ahead because it will bring the much needed development in their village. And of course, they're saying that there's no employment opportunities there. And some of the people that I spoke to, Yuveka, that were in favor of this mining were talking about having to rely only on one clinic for the entire village, and they have to travel quite a long distance to get to that particular clinic. And they believe that if this mine is allowed to take place, it will actually bring them much needed development. But of course, those that have been vehemently opposing this mining in that area, saying that actually mining is not good for them, it's not sustainable. Not only will it disrupt their way of life, Yuveka, but it will destroy what they currently have. And they're saying that they will continue to fight for their land and the land of their ancestors.
Oh, well, Malu, so where does Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe fit into all of this? We understand he met with the community recently, also saying that he didn't give the go-ahead on Kolobeni, and we know that all of this involves an Australian company called Transworld Energy and Mineral Resources. And, going back to as to whether government officials, whether people who were in mining at the time actually were, the idea of kickbacks, the suggestions of all of that coming into play as to whether the Australian company bought its way into these mining rights for this area. So what has the minister had to say, and where will he fit in now that this has gone to court?
Look, Yuveka, the minister, ultimately it's the minister's decision. He's the one that, and he and his officials will be the ones that will either give that mining right a yes or no at the end of the day, whatever decision this court makes here. But I think the most important thing here, Yuveka, is that these residents are saying that, especially those that are opposing this man, are saying that we want, whether the minister makes that decision to grant that mining right, but we have to consent to that. We have to give permission to that mining right, to mining in our community, and the minister would certainly have to take that into account if he does actually give this this mining a go-ahead. He'll have to listen to these residents that have been opposing this mine. And of course, we know over the weekend he was in Kolobeni to try and meet with some of those that have been opposing this mining. And of course, in September, one of his first interactions as the Mineral Resources Minister in Kolobeni didn't go that well. We saw some of the activists being arrested. In fact, one of the lawyers was arrested. So Minister Gwede Mantashe will have really to listen to what these residents are saying and take what they say, Yuvega, into account. That is very important, because this, we know, Yuvega, in the past, in fact, the then Minister of Mineral Resources, Minister Sonjita, had in fact, during her interactions with some residents in Kolobeni, considered that the consultation processes to this particular issue of mining in Kolobeni were actually flawed, and hence we have seen this protracted legal battle and these residents fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they prevent mining in their community.
All right, well, they've been fighting this for years. Let's hope that going to court now will finally bring them the results they want. Thank you very much.